My name is Darryl Carl. Welcome once again to the Bulletin. A group of German investors is in Ghana to explore business opportunities in the renewable energy sector. The team, made up of about 50 businesses, aims to support the development and realization of cheap solar power for Ghanaian businesses. There's more in this report.
Statistics indicate that about 75% of Ghanaian businesses collapsed after 5 years of operation, largely as a result of high cost of power supply. It is to this end that the German development agency GIZ has invited about 50 German energy sector businesses to Ghana to showcase renewable energy potential that exists in Germany. Stephen Bell is programs manager of GIZ.
In recent years, we have seen the development of renewable energy to be rather slow compared to other countries, even in the sub-region. If you look at a country like Senegal, that has now more than 3 large solar PV plants already operational, and is soon also entering into wind with a large wind park. I think at this front, for various reasons, Ghana has developed slowly, but is still on the right path. Why has it developed slowly? I think you know this much better than I do. We had a time of power crisis, out of which the country developed lots of new thermal generation capacity, and we are now in a situation where one can reasonably say that there's more capacity available and installed than is currently needed. That is one reason why the attention when it comes to renewable energy investments has shifted a little bit away from the very large projects.
But project supervisor of one of Germany's solar power plants, Becker Berner, noted that Germany is ever ready to help Ghana identify various options of competitive solar partnerships.
They are permanently based here in Ghana to support the local economy and ensure that they have an opportunity to make a transition towards renewable energies. And as a partaker in this German training week, we of course want to encourage the local solar companies to gain insights into how an investor thinks about solar projects, what the key elements are they need to look out for, and how they can improve their projects so that they are viable for us as an investment opportunity, and we can support them in realization of many more solar projects here in the commercial and industrial space in Ghana.
Under the German Energy Solutions Initiative, the solar projects will offer the most appropriate alternatives to conventional power generation in developing and emerging countries in Africa.
Well, so those were German investors in the country, but President Akufo-Addo is also in Germany, where he's been addressing the 5th German African Economic Forum held in Dortmund yesterday. The president also jointly addressed a press conference with German Chancellor Angela Merkel a few hours ago. Thomas Sparrow of DWTV has been commenting on some of the issues highlighted by the two leaders.
President Akufo-Addo obviously stressed the important relationship he has not only with Angela Merkel, but also the big relationship that Ghana has with Germany on a different, on a wide range of areas, from migration, obviously an important topic, but also economic development. He stressed that idea that he has previously stressed about Ghana beyond aid. In other words, not focusing the relationship between Ghana and, for example, Europe based on aid, but also on economic progress and economic development. That was something that he stressed today at that press conference. And he mentioned that there are wide possibilities of doing that. That's one of the reasons why he was here trying to look for investors from Germany, trying to have also political discussions. So I would say there were two key areas that were discussed in that press conference. Obviously, economic cooperation between Ghana and Germany, and political cooperation between Ghana and Germany when it comes to both migration but also security and stability in the wider region. Angela Merkel obviously stressed again that relationship. Angela Merkel mentioned that for many, Ghana is seen as an example in the region on many areas, but that obviously in Ghana a lot has to be done, and she stressed obviously again that that idea of economic cooperation, the idea that Germany will help Ghana to try and find investors when it comes to economic cooperation. As you know, last year Germany had a particular interest in Africa regarding its foreign policy, especially as Germany was held the presidency of the G20. It had this program that you and I have discussed before about the compacts with Africa, and Ghana is one of the countries that is involved in these compacts with Africa, and Angela Merkel stressed that the goal now is to try and focus and strengthen the bilateral relationship when it comes to this development, to these cooperation goals.
Well, back home, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is likely to recommend about 12.5% reduction in utility tariffs. This is what we are picking up from our sources, and it's despite the fact that most of the utility companies propose more than a 50% hike in tariffs. There's more in this next report.
Joy Business is learning that all the utility companies propose significant increase in utility tariffs with VRA, which did not have its proposal disclosed during the recent public engagement, asking for some 128% adjustment. The PURC initially suggested a 27% increase after considering several scenarios, like the 5% PURC in collectibles by governments in the past. In terms of subsidies, the Commission then looked at considering 12% reduction that is likely to be announced. Sources say the Commission also raised questions with some of the proposals put forward by the utility companies in terms of power generation and projected revenue going forward, a development that forced the Commission to seriously scrutinize some of the numbers put forward for approval. It is not clear for now when the announcement will be made. However, sources say it could happen before the first quarter of this year.
Turning to the mining sector now, where the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Prince William Ankwa, is supporting Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's assertion that mining companies are under-declaring their proceeds. Mining firms in the country are being accused of sidestepping the precious mineral marketing company to determine purity of gold exported as actual level proceeds. According to Mr. Ankwa, this does not augur well for the mining sector.
I believe that the World Bank had also said that before. A neat, open book, thorough investigation of the books. Like, for instance, I've told you a company telling us that wage cost and union demands is killing the business. Evidence, checklist is the opposite. So the VP is right. Excuse me, these companies and their cohorts, even though they are called nationals, sometimes they lack national identity. And multinational, their behavior, excuse me, the Australian phrase, they can screw up everybody. Unions are a turn they are fresh because we are inquisitive. So the VP is right. We got to show eager eyes and scrutinize every bit and piece here and there. And I think that virtually, as soon as you do that, and in recent times, when you are listed on a major stock exchange and you lie in terms of your numbers, you can be jailed. So it's important as a state we take serious view and delve into what exactly that we are hearing in terms of their financial reporting, because they are good at what they do. And so I believe that it's a wake-up call. And as a nation, we just don't just take that as a mere statement. He, from where he sits, and the president have got the powers. 10% shares as a golden share isn't just that we go and sleep. The gold is vested in the hands of the president. So we don't leave it to the hands of those who mine and think that they can just do anything at all. They keep championing their social responsibility as a trumpet. Excuse me, for me it's short-termist. What they do from CSR, they take that from the receipt before they pay taxes. So what are they telling us?
We are moving on now, and UNB says it is engaging some investors to help raise more than the minimum capital requirement put forward by the Bank of Ghana. UNB is one of several banks working to meet the new capital levels of 400 million cedis by December this year. Managing Director of UNB, John Ewa, tells Joy Business they are looking at raising 260 million cedis, more than the new capital requirement. This was on the sidelines of the launch of an online mobile banking application known as UNB Speed Up.
Commercial banks have up to December 31 to increase their minimum capital requirement from the current 120 million cedis to 400 million cedis or lose their existence. But for Chief Executive of UMB, John Iwa, he is confident the bank will not only meet the new minimum capital requirement way before the December deadline, but also exceed the set target in excess of 260 million cedis as it scouts for investors.
A commitment, and we've expressed all the preparedness of our bank, Universal Merchant Bank, that way ahead of the December 31, 2018 deadline, we would have met the new capital requirements. We've done extensive work already. We have people already on our doors, and we just need to do a few paperwork, and we can make an announcement, the big announcement that UMB, Universal Merchant Bank, we have met our capital requirements. We are not going to raise 400 million because already have a significant amount of capital. We are raising an addition of about 260 million to meet the requirement. So it's not a lot of work on our side, but we also see it as an opportunity for us to inorganically also grow.
Mr. Iwa also expressed the bank's readiness to comply with the impending Bank of Ghana's formula for calculating interest rates. He says this formula would have a positive impact on banking operations.
We want a regime that enhances our growth and helps the customer to also deliver on their commitment. So the reference rate is coming. We welcome it. We have been working behind the scenes with the Bank of Ghana in fine-tuning. We were part of the arrangement in coming out to the reference rate formula. And a lot of work has been done with the Association of Bankers. We worked through the association on issues such as this. I would say it's a positive impact. We are in a very competitive environment, and in an environment where we've had interest rates rise all the way to upper of 30%. So if rates come down to levels that are very much affordable to our counterparties, it means that our volumes will go up.
The launch of the online mobile banking application, the UMB Speed App, was under the theme DigiBank, Let's Go. Bismarck Ausa, Joy Business.
Chief Executive of Kofi Pharmacy, Kofi Addo, has lauded government's move to take off the VAT and National Health Insurance levy on some selected imported pharmaceutical products. This, he noted, has made the cost of buying medicines relatively lower in the country. Now, government in its 2017 budget removed VAT on selected imported medicines. A situation seems to be positively impacting on the pharmaceutical industry. Kofi Addo has been speaking to JoyNews.
My organization has started benefiting from the exemption of the VAT. So, for example, if I were to pay 17.5% on a given consignment, now I am exempted. And I have this particular money to be able to do other things apart from that. Because I didn't suffer the 17.5%, the price of medicines are coming down automatically. Oliver Twist, we always would want to ask for more. The issue is that, you see, if the government shows good faith in coming to the discussion table with a hand of friendship, you would also have to reciprocate. So the Chamber of Pharmacy also promised that because of the ECOWAS external tariff regime, the pharmaceutical industry is enjoying 10 percentage points relief of duty. All duties on pharmaceutical products are zero rated, or 0%. And now some selected pharmaceuticals are also going to get, or they have started enjoying 17.5% relief. So we are talking about 27.5% off. I'm talking about taxes on medicines, on some of the selected items. And it's a huge relief to the pharmaceutical industry. We are praying that in the fullness of time, the basket of these exemptions will be expanded so that many more pharmaceutical products will get this VAT removed. And then the cost of medicines will come down. And then the National Health Insurance will be sustainable. And then the patients will also benefit.
You're watching Business Live. There is plenty more to come, including the Joy Business Van. Stay with us. Welcome back to Business Live. Does Broma natural cocoa powder ring a bell? Well, a few years ago, they were the most sought after for natural cocoa powder till a breakdown in equipment crippled operations. Now, this cocoa processing company, Allied Cocoa Products Limited, could get a lifeline should they receive a stimulus package from government. The Joy Business Van today meets up with the Chief Executive Officer, Major Daniel Ablo-Kwaku, retired, who is hoping to bring his company back to its feet.
Major Daniel Ablo-Kwaku, retired, manages Allied Cocoa Products Limited.
You were in the army for 12 years.
Yes.
How did you get into this then?
After retiring from the army, I was in the army as an accountant. And so I looked for a job as an accountant in Cocoa Board. And I became the management accountant for Cocoa Board. Subsequently, I became the director of finance.
His time with Cocoa Board got him really interested in the sector. So when the opportunity came to acquire a cocoa processing company in 1998, he didn't waste time.
It was just an opportunity that came. And so I informed a businessman friend of mine. And he said, well, yes, why not? Let's acquire it.
Allied Cocoa Products Limited kick-started operations within a few years, producing high-quality natural cocoa powder from Ghana's premium cocoa beans for the local and international markets. Their flagship, Broma Natural Cocoa Powder, was product of choice for many beverage makers, confectioners, ice cream makers, and households. But in 2014, the operations of this once vibrant company came to a halt following the breakdown of a major equipment.
You're telling me that it was this equipment?
Yes.
This very one?
This very equipment was damaged.
Broke down?
Yeah.
And led to the collapse.
A devastating power crisis coupled with a shortage of raw materials dealt a big blow to the operations of Allied Cocoa.
It should have been very disappointing for you when
this very
broke down.
Because it broke down at a time when we were talking to customers who were, at that time, even the export market was very buoyant. Powder prices were rising and rising, but we could not take advantage of it because our equipment had broken down.
Major Kwaku shows me what is left of the company. As he points out, it was a time demand for their products was very high. They could export about 800 tons of cocoa powder. Major Kwaku and his team are not giving up yet. There are feverish plans to revamp operations. The company is seeking a stimulus package from government.
We have submitted a business plan to the ministry, and based on that, they approved the package that they were going to release for us, and it's just over 1 million cedis. Yeah.
And that would, to a large extent, help the company.
It will, to a large extent, help the company to get back on its feet and employ close to about 40 people.
But coming back into operation, there are still some challenges that need to be fixed, Major Kwaku tells me, including inadequate and poor quality raw materials and high taxes. For him, the setback was a learning experience. Perhaps if they had diversified operations, they could still have been in business.
Since our initial experience was limited to only raw cocoa powder or alkalized cocoa powder, we think that we need to, open up and maybe venture into derivatives of the cocoa product. Make cocoa toffees, make other cocoa drinks apart from just the raw.
Allied Cocoa Products has been down, but certainly not out. Major Kwaku can't wait to get back to delivering quality products for clients.
And that was the last in a series on cocoa this month of February. In March, it will be our Ghana month. You want to look out for those episodes of the Joy Business Van. Now, we cannot conclude this bulletin without telling you about today's big event. You may have heard about it, the Masterclass On-Ground Forum, where prospective startup businesses and SMEs have been advised to be cautious of borrowing from wrong sources when starting their businesses. The call was made during the maiden edition of the Joy Business Masterclass On-Ground Forum, and there's more in this report.
Transforming SMEs and startups, think local, act global was the theme for the first ever Joy Business Masterclass On-Ground Forum. Now, this forum successfully brought together a number of entrepreneurs and professionals to discuss ways and means of growing today's SME. Now, one of the key topics that was discussed is whether to borrow or not when you're starting your business. A very interesting discussions, and our panelists had various thoughts on this particular issue. A lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Kobe Mensah, explained SMEs needed proper education on the right time to borrow.
I think that we must understand the mixture of capital. At the initial stages, borrowing may not be good for you. So you may want to look at your friends and relations to develop the idea further. Once the concept has been developed and it's been tested, perhaps some kind of venture capital or angel investor would come in because they could see the numbers and then see that, yes, there's a potential for the business. Now, immediately the business takes off and you're expanding to scale. Then, of course, you may want to go for debt capital, i.e. going to loan in order that you can expand the business. And we've seen examples here where people have talked about the fact that they needed to borrow in order that they can expand. So perhaps at scaling level, when the business had actually grown to certain levels, you may not be able to rely on your own internal capital or friends and family to scale. So you have to go to the banks. So we've got to understand the mixture of capital and at what point in the business life cycle do we need that capital.
Panelist Thompson Chua of RTHE Consult on his part added that businesses needed more than just an idea to woo investors.
One, let's start from the beginning. You have a great idea, or you think you have a great idea. Test that great idea. See that there are growth opportunities. Work on it a little bit. Get it a bit well packaged. Package yourself, learn, be humble and learn. Then you can start talking to investors, either equity investors to take a share of your company, or you're talking about debt financing, talking to the bank or to savings and loan companies, right, to help you finance your company. It is a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Participants at the forum also shared their thoughts with Joy Business.
Knowing how and where to find finance has always been a problem, but looking at people who have already thrived in the business, letting you know that yes, there's a point when you need to sort for finance and when you need not to, that's it with regards to loan taken from the bank. So it really helped because it answered one of my questions that
Our interview of the day now, the head of wealth management at Standard Chartered Bank, Seto Kwashiga, is making a case for local investors to rather venture into the purchase of bonds and government instruments instead of treasury bills. He explains.
Remember, you would have earned your coupon every 6 months anyway. So even if you get out at 99, you would have received your coupons because the coupon payment is constant. It's just that capital will also appreciate by the time you are getting out. So those who bought it at 98, those who bought it at $100, if it's at 102, your RM will come and talk to you about portfolio rebalancing or switch ideas and tell you, oh, it's currently at 102, you bought it at 98 or you bought it at 100. Do you want to get out and collect your money and buy this other one which is trading at 99, and we are projecting that it will go up to 101. So can you buy it at 99 now? That's what the investment advisors do. We encourage clients to do portfolio rebalancing. We give them switch ideas. So the guys who have, all the clients who have treasury bills and it's about to mature, what we do is we get the list of the clients and say to them, your treasury bill is currently at 13.5. It's about to mature next 2 weeks. We will credit your account with it. But when we go to repurchase again, we'll probably be purchasing at 12 or 11 because then the rate would have dropped further. do you really want to continue buying treasury bills at 11 when you can get another Government of Ghana bond, a cocoa bond, which is maturing in 700 days time, or in 48 days time, or in 200 days time, and it is at 18%? Clients will always switch.
Seto Kwashiga is actually a she, my bad. That's it for Business Live. My name is Daryl Carl. Thanks for watching. We are back same time tomorrow.